Hello guys and welcome to my DVD collection for 2022. This is basically like my other DVD collections but with more DVDs, and so let's continue on with the video. So up here I've got Thomas and Friends Peep Peep Party, Thomas and Friends Chocolates of Fun, Thomas and Friends Bumper Collection Seasonal Scrapes, the very best of Thomas and Friends, Thomas and Friends The Chocolate Crunch and Other Stories, Thomas and Friends Happy Little Helpers, Thomas and Friends Engines to the Rescue, Thomas and Friends All Aboard of the Steam Team, Thomas and Friends Pulling Together, Thomas and Friends It's Great to Be an Engine, Thomas and Friends The Complete First Series, The Complete Second Series, The Complete Third Series, The Complete Fourth Series, Thomas and Friends PP Parade 3 Cheers for Thomas, Thomas and Friends Bumper Polly Collection, Thomas and Friends Coiling All Engines, Thomas and Friends Thomas's Trusty Friends, Thomas and Friends Trouble on the Tracks, Thomas and Friends Little Engines Big Days Out, Thomas and Friends Engines and Escapades, Thomas and the Magic Railroad, Thomas and Friends The Complete 6th Series, The Complete 7th Series, Thomas and Friends Chocolates of Fun The 2 Entertain re-release, Thomas and Friends On Track for Adventure, Thomas and Friends The Spirit of Sodor, Thomas and Friends The Great Discovery, Thomas and Friends Classic Collection Series 9, Thomas and Friends Carnival Keepers, Thomas and Friends The Complete 9th Series, which is the original release, Thomas and Friends Heave Ho, Thomas and Friends Classic Collection Series 10, Thomas and Friends Creaky Cranky, Thomas and Friends Thomas and the Runaway Coit, Thomas and Friends Splish Splash Splosh, Thomas and Friends The Best of Thomas, Thomas and Friends Christmas Express, Thomas and Friends Pop Goes Thomas, Thomas and Friends The Birthday Express, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 12, Thomas and Friends Day of the Diesels, Thomas and Friends Rescue on the Rails, Thomas and Friends Curious Cargo, Thomas and Friends Blue Mountain Mystery, Thomas and Friends Go Go Thomas, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 14, Thomas and Friends and Edward and Gordon, Thomas and Bertie, Thomas in Trouble, Thomas, Percy and Nicole, Percy takes the plunge, and Thomas and Friends A Close Shave, Thomas and Friends King of the Railway, Thomas and Friends The Thomas Way, Thomas and Friends Spills and Thrills, Thomas and Friends Tale of the Brave, Thomas and Friends Santa's Little Engine, Thomas and Friends Donuts and Discoveries, Thomas and Friends Trouble on the Tracks, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 16, Thomas and Friends Railway Mischief, Thomas and Friends First Class Stories, Thomas and Friends The Adventure Begins, Thomas and Friends Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, Thomas and Friends The Christmas Engines, Thomas and Friends Signals Crossed, Thomas and Friends Start Your Engines, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 17, Thomas and Friends The Great Race, Thomas and Friends Thomas's Christmas Carol, Thomas and Friends Tales from the Rails, Thomas and Friends Extraordinary Engines, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 18, Thomas and Friends Team Up with Thomas, Thomas and Friends Journey Beyond Sodor, Thomas and Friends Christmas on Sodor, Thomas and Friends Danger at the Docks, Thomas and Friends On the Go Thomas, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 19, Thomas and Friends Here Comes the Steam Team, Thomas and Friends Big World Big Adventures, Thomas and Friends Digs and Discoveries, Thomas and Friends The Royal Engine, Thomas and Friends Carnival Day, Thomas and Friends The Super Engine, Thomas and Friends Animal Adventures, Bob the Builder Live, Bob the Builder and the Knights of Camelot, Bob the Builder Speedy Skip, Bob the Builder Teamwork Challenge, Bob the Builder A Christmas to Remember, Bob the Builder Feast of Fun, Bob the Builder Bob's Winning Team, Bob the Builder The Great Race and Scoop the Disco Digger, Bob the Builder Snowed Under the Bobblesburg Winter Games, Bob the Builder Bob's Big Plan, Bob the Builder Chip Off the Old Block, Bob the Builder Skateboard Spud, Bob the Builder Trailer Traverse, Bob the Builder Where Bob Became a Builder, Bob the Builder Let's Scram! Bob the Builder Super Speedy Benny, Bob the Builder Build to Be Wild, Bob the Builder Bob's White Christmas and Other Stories, Scarecrow Dizzy and Other Stories, and Rolling the Rockstar and Other Stories, Bob the Builder The Complete First Series, Bob the Builder Scrambler to the Rescue, Bob the Builder Road On-Site Roads and Bridges, Bob the Builder Pilchard's Breakfast and Other Stories, Bob the Builder The Complete Second Series, Bob the Builder On-Site Homes and Playgrounds, Bob the Builder Bob's Rescue and Other Stories, Bob the Builder Race to the Finish, Bob the Builder The Three Musket Trucks, Bob the Builder On-Site Skyscrapers, Bob the Builder Adventures in Boblin Bay, Bob the Builder Radio Bob, Bob the Builder The Best of Bob, Bob the Builder On-Site Trains and Tree Houses, Bob the Builder The Legend of the Golden Hammer, Bob the Builder Can-Do Crew, Bob the Builder Starting from Scratch, Bob the Builder Seaside Adventures, Bob the Builder The Complete Collection Series 3 and 4, Bob the Builder The Big Dino Dig, Bob the Builder Christmas to Remember, the 2011 re-release, Bob the Builder Super Scrambler, Bob the Builder Here to Help, Bob the Builder Can We Fix It? Yes, we can! Bob the Builder Building Sky High, Bob the Builder Bob's Winter Build, Bob the Builder Dig This, Bob the Builder Mega Machines, Bob the Builder Lofty Let's Loose, Harry Hill First Class Scamp, Harry Hill in Hooves, Harry Hill's TV Bub Gold 1, 2 and 3, Harry Hill's TV Bub The Best Bits, Harry Hill's Queer TV Bub, the Harry Hill Movie, the BFG, the 1989 film, The Magic Roundabout, Home Alone, SpongeBob SquarePants Lost in Time, Thomas and Friends The Complete Series 13, Roy the Racing Car Bumper Collection 2, Sooty Wacky Washing, Sweep Super Dog, Disney Pixar 7 Unforgettable Short Films, The Simpsons The Complete First Season, The Complete Second Season, The Complete Third Season, The Complete Fourth Season, The Complete Sixth Season, The Complete Sixth Season, Numberjacks are on their way, Numberjacks Calling All Agents, Numberjacks Standing by to Zoom, Numberjacks Brain Gain, Numberjacks Counting Down to Christmas, Numberjacks Seaside Adventure, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's Talent Show, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's in Charge, Fifi and the Flautos, Fun at the Fair, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's Chocolate Surprise, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's Snowy Fun, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's His Happy Day, Fifi and the Flautos Bumper Collection, Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi's Frosty Morning, The Best of Fifi and the Flautos, Fifi and the Flautos 2-hour Bumper Collection, Fifi and the Flautos Twinkle Time Bumper, Fifi and the Flautos Hide and Seek, Roy the Racing Car, Roy's First Day, Roy the Racing Car, Roy Takes Off, Roy the Racing Car Stars in Cars, Roy the Racing Car Christmas Bumper Collection, Roy the Racing Car Bumper to Bumper, Roy the Racing Car Putting on a Show, PJ Masks, Time to Be a Hero, or should I say, it's time to be a hero! PJ Masks, Let's Go PJ Masks, PJ Masks Save the Summer, PJ Masks Hello Christmas, PJ Masks Cracking the Case, Wallace and Gromit 3 Cracking Adventures, all 3 releases, the 2000 release, the 2005 release, and the 2007 release, Wallace and Gromit The Complete Collection, Wallace and Gromit A Mountain Flow for Death, Wallace and Gromit A Close Shave, Shaun the Sheep Shape with Shaun, Shaun the Sheep Off the Bar, Shaun the Sheep Saturday Night Shaun, Shaun the Sheep Abracadabra, Shaun the Sheep Wash Day, Shaun the Sheep Spring Lamb, Shaun the Sheep To His Company, Shaun the Sheep Party Animals, Shaun the Sheep The Big Chase, Shaun the Sheep We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Shaun the Sheep Christmas Bleatings, Shaun the Sheep Picture Perfect, The Shaun the Sheep Movie, Shaun the Sheep Flock to the Floor, Shaun the Sheep Sheer Heat, Shaun the Sheep 10 Years, is Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon, the original Sooty Show Wet and Wild Waterthorn, the Sooty Show Izzy Wizzy Let's Get Busy, Sooty The Big Surprise, Sooty Sweep and Sue The Big Day Out, Sooty Happy Birthday Sooty, the Sooty Show Volume 1, Volume 2 and Volume 3, the Sooty Show, the Sooty Christmas Special, Sooty The Children's Party, the Sooty Magic Show, Sooty Fitness Fanatic, Sooty Halloween Special, Sooty Panto Palava, Rainbow 30th Anniversary Special, Rainbow Zip Up Zippy, Rainbow My Mate Zippy, Rainbow Songs, Rhymes, Stories and Tales, Be the Ultimate Disaster Movie, Mr. Bean, being 3 of the original classic episodes, Volume 1, Mr. Bean, Number 1, Mr. Bean, 3 of the original classic episodes, Volume 2, Mr. Bean, the Animated Series, Volume 2, Volume 3, Mr. Bean, 3 of the original classic episodes, Volume 3, the Mr. Bean, the Animated Series, Volume 5, Volume 6, Mr. Bean, 2 of the original classic episodes, Volume 5, Mr. Bean's Holiday, Mr. Bean Volume 1 and Volume 2, Happy Birthday Mr. Bean, Merry Christmas Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean Racing Adventures, Mr. Bean Hallow Bean, Mr. Bean Super Bean, Mr. Bean Egg and Bean, Mr. Bean on Thin Ice, The Simpsons Film Festival, The Simpsons Backstage Pass, The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons Risky Business, Christmas with The Simpsons, The Simpsons Classics Crime and Punishment, but Star Wars The Simpsons Strike Back, Too Hot for TV, Greatest Hits, Only Mouse Gets the Dough, and The Simpsons Against the World, The Simpsons Gone Wild, The Simpsons Christmas 2, The Simpsons Around the World in 80 Days, The Simpsons Movie, SpongeBob SquarePants, Nautical Nonsense and Sponge Buddies, SpongeBob SquarePants Tales from the Deep, SpongeBob SquarePants Lost at Sea, SpongeBob SquarePants SpongeBob Goes Prehistoric, the SpongeBob SquarePants Movie, the SpongeBob SquarePants Sponge for Hoya, SpongeBob SquarePants The Ever Krabby Patty, SpongeBob SquarePants Home Sweet Pineapple, SpongeBob SquarePants Karate Island, SpongeBob SquarePants Whale of a Birthday, a SpongeBob SquarePants Christmas, SpongeBob SquarePants Threat or Foe, SpongeBob SquarePants SpongeBob and the Big Wave, SpongeBob SquarePants To Love a Party, SpongeBob SquarePants SpongeBob on Tour, SpongeBob SquarePants The Great Party Caper, Paddington Bear Alphabet Treasure Hunt, Paddington Bear Hits the Jackpot, Paddington Bear Complete DVD Collection, Paddington Bear Please Look After This Bear, Paddington Bear Goes to the Movies, Paddington Bear A Royal Celebration, Paddington in London, Paddington, the Paddington Movies, Paddington and Paddington 2, Tweenies Ready to Play in Song Time, Tweenies Colours on Magic, Tweenies It's Messy Time, Tweenies Party Games Laughs and Giggles, Tweenies Music is Popperoonie, Tweenies Let's Play, Tweenies Nighttime Magic, Tweenies Let's All Make Music, Tweenies Juggle Adventure, Tweenies Fizz, Tweenies Song Time The Complete Collection, Tweenies The Ultimate Christmas Collection, Tweenies Practical Jokes and Other Stories, and Tweenies Let's Play. And I think that does about it for part 1 of my DVD collection. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for part 2. Bye bye.